Welcome, everyone, to the Beneath the Surface series, where you guys, the viewer, get to pick what it is I talk about, and hopefully we can, come to some nice conclusions. If you have an idea for next week's video, post it in the comment section below. That way, we can keep this organized. Also, make sure you like a comment if you think that's a cool idea for next week's video. Now, you wanted me to go in on gay marriage, and we are about to do that, but let me say, I hope you enjoy the gameplay, and also, I'm incredibly sick right now. I'm, like, borderline delirious, so if I repeat myself, if I sound a little weird, it's just because I'm really sick. I'm, like, laying down all day, and I get up, and I try and do a commentary, and then it's like, go back down. So, without further ado, let's really get into the topic. Gay marriage is a weird situation because I try and approach this logically, right? And I'm not someone who was, for a big part of my life, I was actually borderline homophobic, right? I had a problem with gay people. Not because I hate them, not because, I think that they're bad people, not even because I think gay marriage, I've always thought gay marriage should be legal. But I don't know, I must have inherited it from my family or something, I don't know, it's just gay people kind of weird me out a little bit. But that doesn't mean that my personal viewpoint should reflect what I think the laws should be. And I've grown up as a human being. I'm not like that anymore. I'm actually very tolerant, and if, you can love whoever the fuck you want. If you're a gay dude, as long as you don't hit on me, we're good. And, if you're a girl and you want to marry another woman, fuck yeah, do what you want, man. Who gives a fuck? And I've tried to understand all the different sides of this puzzle, because the only argument against gay marriage that I can find is a religious one, where they say, marriage is between a man and a woman, and, it's the sacrament of God, and you cannot get in the way of that. Well, dude, that's fine, but if that's the case, then that means that, only Christians can get married. That means if you're Muslim, you are not allowed to get married. If you're Buddhist, if you're atheist, that means if you're gonna follow that train of thought, if you're gonna follow that line of thinking, then only Christians should be allowed to be married. And on top of that, I think that if only Christians should be allowed to be married, you should take a test to make sure that you're Christian enough to, be married. Because, it doesn't make any sense. You see Muslim people married, you see people who are atheists who are married, but then all of a sudden, two guys or two women want to get married. It's like, no, God says no, God says no. Yeah, dude, are you really gonna contradict yourself like that? Because logically, that makes no sense. And for those of you who are sitting there maybe gripping your chair a little hard because this makes you a little nervous, the way that society is structured, or supposed to be structured, is you're supposed to have a separation between church and state. What that means is that government and religion do not intertwine. It has not always been that way. It used to be that, the church and government, got along swimmingly, and the laws that, Christians had applied to government. But that's not the way it is anymore. That's not the way it's supposed to be, at least. You still see crazy people in politics ranting about how they're on a mission from God to, do whatever it is they want to do. But, got the sniffles. But, logically, it makes no sense. And on top of that, it's hypocritical thinking to allow other people who are not Christian to get married, but then say that these people aren't. And I've heard tons of stuff. I've listened to music. I've watched interviews. Look, man, you can't pray the gay away. It doesn't work that way. You can't say, all right, well, you two homos are going to go to a church resort and we're going to pray the gay away. Hallelujah. Can I get the hallelujah from the people? That's not going to happen, all right? That's just not going to fucking happen. I've heard people who are gay who say, look, I was born this way. I cannot change who I am. It's the way I'm programmed. It doesn't change. So expecting someone to go to some weird church resort and have that be fixed is silly and nonsensical and stupid bullshit. And on top of that, you're basing your view on 2014 society on a book that is thousands of years old. And look, if you're Christian, if you, believe in God, hell yeah, more power to you. But you have to understand that that book cannot apply to politics and the way society is structured. We live in a diverse, multicultural society of 300 million people, and you're trying to tell me that the Bible should dictate the way that every single person lives? There's 7 billion of us on this planet. We live in a giant fucking tribe on, the United States, where there's 300 million of us. So you can't do that. You just can't do that. There's so many religions, there's so many different viewpoints and belief systems, and the best way, in my opinion, to structure society is to do it through love and positivity and being tolerant of one another and allowing people to express themselves openly. And if you don't do that, if you repress that desire, then, like, what? You're causing more problems. And I'm not saying that because it's my opinion. I'm saying that because it's almost, you know, my opinion is based on some facts and some actualities. For instance, one of the reasons why the United States does not get bombed by terrorists is because we have a freedom of religion in this country, right? Well, Europe has had a huge problem with bombings in their country. They've had huge issues with terrorist threats. And part of the reason why, I think it was Paris or France, I've read this a long, long time ago, but I think they banned the burqa. You can't wear that headscarf if you're a Muslim. You're not allowed to wear that. And I don't know if they repealed that or not, but what happens is when you suppress someone's belief system, when you suppress who they are, you radicalize them, you make them angry, and you turn them into this really crazy, awful human being when you tell someone what they can and cannot believe in and how they express themselves. So Europe had a huge problem with bombings, especially in subway tunnels. And part of the reason why was that they were not that tolerant of, you know, what people believed in. And on top of that, man, what is the fucking problem with gay people getting married? It's like, what do you think's gonna happen? You know, some, you know, gay dude or woman is gonna go on some raping spree? Like, that doesn't happen. The stereotype with gay people is that they make the community better. If you ever live in a gay neighborhood, the stereotype is that the crime rate is low and that everyone is really nice and friendly, and it's like, what is wrong with that? On top of all of that I've just said, New York, when they legalized gay marriage, within the first year, they made $250 million in revenue. What the fuck? Are you serious? So you're telling me that if the stereotypes are true, right, because stereotyping people is always bad, but if they're true, neighborhoods are better, right? I don't think if you legalize gay marriage, crime's gonna go up, right? I don't think you can logically make that assumption. I can't make that step, but crime is, you know, gonna go down. Maybe, stereotypically. You get more money because these gay people are spending money on marriage and they're spending money on, you know, these crazy extravagant weddings. So that brings in more money to the state. So I think that it's such a silly argument. I mean, I've heard the debate for abortion, right? Abortion is a legitimate argument that needs to be made where, you know, you have two opposing viewpoints, both of which make a lot of sense. But gay marriage, it's like, well, you know, I don't like homos, and, you know, God says that they're bad, so I don't like them, and it feels weird to hear that from people. It feels weird to have that debate going on in 2014, you know what I'm saying? And one of the most stunning statistics that I actually came across was that black people, right, if you're black, you know, I don't mean any offense, but black people, I think it was in California, they voted against legalizing gay marriage in a huge way. I think a majority of black people actually voted against gay marriage. And that makes almost no sense to me. When you have a population of people, a culture that was repressed, you know, the black culture was repressed and destroyed and just mangled for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. If there is any culture that should be open to freedom of expression and tolerant of what other people believe in, so that way that other people don't have to suffer through the pain that they suffered through, it should be the black community, honestly. I mean, it doesn't make sense for them to, you know, that culture, in stereotypically speaking, to go against gay marriage. I don't understand the reasoning or the logic other than a Christian background. And again, a Christian background cannot dictate what happens in society. You know, I've talked about, you know, those bombings that happened in Europe. You know, when you suppress someone's belief system, when you don't allow someone to express themselves, you create problems and you create an angry group of people. And, you know, it doesn't seem like that's happening. I don't think that you have, like, you know, gay people that are rioting and creating, you know, tons of violence or anything. But it's not helpful when, you know, you hear Christians, I think I said this already or not, but the idea that Christianity should dictate the way society is ran. And by no means, I don't blame Christian people for going against gay marriage because, our culture was founded on Christianity. That idea, I forget what that document was, but supposedly, we have a, agreement with God. Our nation was founded on this idea that God is going to make America amazing as long as we follow Christianity and are true to ourselves. So I don't blame, people for kind of freaking out because we do live in a very Christian society, whether we like it or not. But it is 2014, people. Time to wake the fuck up, and it's time to understand that, we have a wide group of people in this society. We are a nation of immigrants. And to deny someone what they truly feel is right for them and it's not hurting anyone, right? If two people get married down the street, two gay people get married down the street, what's gonna happen to me? Nothing's happening to me. I'm not gonna be hurt at all. If anything, it's gonna be festive and it's gonna be fun, and I'd be like, hey, can I get an invite? Like, I'd like to go to this sounds like a lot of fun. But it's just so I don't understand. If you guys have a legitimate argument against gay marriage, I would actually be very intrigued to see what that is. But, don't just play devil's advocate just to play devil's advocate, because, let's be real here, guys. You gotta perpetuate positivity, and if you're not, then you're causing problems. Anyways, that does it for me. Have a good day. Until next time. Peace.